UK, and this is the USA Dips and Sticks party. It's raw vegan. We're raw vegans, and we're going to share what we've made. Hey guys!
Hello, how are
Hi,
you
Sky.
guys?
Hi, Dulce. Oh, you guys are both red.
I'm
Oh,
pink.
yes.
I'm pink. So we're doing all the rainbow.
Yeah.
I
That's so
love
funny.
that. Oh, there we go. Bring it on, Kiko. Join the party.
Yes.
Yay.
Oh, okay. So who wants to start? Dulce, you look like you're all set up. Do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay,
How
I'm
are
going to
you
bring you
all? I
up.
hope everybody's doing so good. And I'm so excited to be here with you guys. So the summer, no, the spring is here, but it feels like summer today. Like it's super hot. So I'm happy that we're having this fresh, raw, deep, and sticks, which are gonna be nourishing me. And I hope you enjoy it whenever or you feel inspired to do something today. So I made a guacamole, and I made prepare some celery sticks, red peppers, cucumber, carrots, and okra because I really love that. And tomatoes, 'cause I cannot leave them on the side. I know it was sticks, but these can dip so well, and then they're so juicy that I just had to put it on. I don't know if you can see it, but let me bring this. I'm gonna bring the spoon, and I'm gonna show you. I have this guacamole that I put some sprouts because I cannot leave them on the side. Like just I
Bulk
just have to add them in there. So I don't know if you can see it, but I have my plate over here, and this is something that it can be a snack if you like, or it can be your whole meal, but just make sure that you have an abundance of it and dive into it. I wasn't sure if I was telling Sky that I was kind of craving a little bit of nacho cheese that is made with cashews and carrots and more stuff, but I prefer today to go with the omega of the guacamole, just like lower fat than the actual amount of cashews that you need for the vegan nacho cheese. So I like it like this, and yeah, I
I'll
hope
bring
you
it back
like
up.
it.
What's in it? You've got sprouts, you've got avocado. What else is in it?
So I put an avocado, I put coriander, cilantro, very finely chopped. I like it like very very fine chopped onion, red onion, cherry tomatoes, and a little lemon, black pepper. If you are adding salt to your meals, you can add a little bit of salt. And that's basically the original guacamole. Um, if you there's people that add jalapeno, but because the kids are around, I left it without. It can be serrano. It's same thing. Like you can chop it very very fine, or jalapeno, but I prefer serrano because it's just the texture of it is crunchier than the
Oh,
jalapeno in my perspective, and I love it like this. And I added some uh, microgreens and some sprouts, and
amazing.
that was my dip.
Amazing.
Mm.
Now, I'm going to ask you because I know people are going to want to know how do you make your nacho cheese?
Okay,
Um,
then. Yes. The nacho cheese is with you soak your cashews. It can be 1 cup of cashews. You soak it overnight or with at least, I don't know, let's say 4 hours if the water is like warm, hot kind of thing. But I like it to put it overnight. And then you add carrots, let's say for 1 cup of cashews, depending on the size of the carrots, let's say you can add like a cup or third, half a cup to a cup of the carrots. You put it on the blender. You add garlic, a little bit of jalapeno. Let's say half of jalapeno. I don't think it's gonna make it spicy. 1 clove of garlic if you like garlic to your dipping sauce, and like I said, optionally salt, black pepper for sure, and red, any type of red chili that you have. It can be red pepper, it can be a little bit of cayenne, and then you omit the jalapeno because then that is gonna give you everything that you need as spice. And a little bit of water. You're just gonna be adding a little bit of water to get the consistency that you like. And that's it.
Yum.
Yes.
This is like a
comes
party.
it comes like a color of
Cheese.
yeah, but it's not exactly that color. It's a little bit mixed because like bird spot zucchini, or I don't know, it's a mix. Depending on how much paprika or red pepper you adding, that's gonna be the color. But the flavor is gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I'm tasting it in my brain as you describe it. It sounds absolutely
And then you
beautiful.
can put some cilantro on top or something green. I like to always garnish something green. Like it can be the green onion. You can add it in there to the blender and then just garnish with a little bit and dip it with. I love the tostadas that you make, or the the raw nacho chips that you make. So that goes perfect with that, or the veggies, of course.
See, guys, you don't miss out. You can make chips, tostadas, cheesy dip. Noi Milk Nickel, I can't pronounce that, has said, what are you making? So this is the dips and sticks party for the USA. And we all have bought dips, and Dulce just described her guacamole, her cheese dip, and Kiko is about to describe her dip.
Nice.
So thanks, Dulce. Okay, bringing you up.
Hi, everyone. Dulce, you have inspired me because I didn't have anything in front of me, but I did make a dip yesterday, last night. So, so it's a walnut pate dip with cucumber, and I made a onion flax chia seed cracker. They're very, very let's see. It's just cracked. It's crunchy.
You're
I don't
very
know
dry.
yeah, if you can, yeah, it's very, very satisfying when it's crunchy like this. So yeah, that's it. It's very simple. I just topped it with the black pepper and chili pepper and some herb. The base is just basically walnuts, garlic. I put miso as well. I think that's about it. Yeah, I personally have allergy reaction to many of the nuts and seeds. So yeah, walnut is my go-to. A lot of people make cashew nut base, but that's very high on omega-6. And yeah, I have a very bad reaction to cashews. So walnut is my go-to. So yeah, I just put the tomato because Dulce said, "Oh, I love tomato," and I just saw it in front of me. Even though I don't think I would dip it, but I thought that's beautiful. Thanks for the inspiration, Dulce.
Oh,
I love that. You guys are like left me in the dust now because I last night set mine all up, but this morning I made, so I'm doing keto again, and I'm finding right now that like the flaxseed oil, the avocado and herbs, like I'm really good with herbs, like any fresh herbs. I'm no good with dried because it sets off my mast cell activation. So I made like another one of those in just dip like I did last night, which is just like put in the blender like everything I could think of, but I haven't even plated it up because I got stuck into it earlier, so I wasn't really going to eat anymore now. And so, okay, so in this is like dill, mint, coriander. I don't think parsley, or maybe a little bit of parsley. There's cucumber, there's celery, there is chia, a little bit of chia. There's flax oil. I said avocado. My Brazil nuts are in there. Did I say chia? I said chia seeds. Yeah, and this seems to be really good on my digestion. And lime. I just throw the whole lime in, blend it all up, and yeah. And you know what's I've been thinking about how Dr. Brugolna said that when she healed, she'd kind of do a guacamole like this. I think she just used spinach though, which I'm not great with a lot of the greens. I can have some, but I can't keep going. Like I literally filled my whole blender with chives, mint, and that seems to work really well for me. And I just have it with because I'm doing keto, I try not to have too much tomato and pepper right now, but I can have celery and cucumber, and well, that's all I've been craving. So that's it.
That's so yummy.
Yeah. So I think I'm going for it at the moment. Not, and also guys, if you want to make this with more flavor, you can add ginger, you could add apple cider vinegar, you can add garlic, you could add onion powder, but I have to keep it very plain right now. So it's very simple, but very fresh.
I love it that you always make things, that works for you. Right. Because some people might be blocked with, I don't know, I can't eat this, I can't eat this. And I was definitely there. It's like, when you see people like mainstream eating way, you say, well, I can't eat the burger, I can't eat la la la, and what do I eat? And then you look at Sky and say, well, there's so many ways to do it.
There is. I've done it many different ways. And all these different ways are amazing for different times. And it gives you the confidence, right? I have done high fat, low fat, like tried Dr. Brugolna, done the keto, done the juicing, done the mono fruits. And then it gives you the confidence. Like when you're not well, you've got all these different ways of eating to support your system. And I'm never afraid as well each day to try again. Like if my body's telling me something, like it kept coming up greens, but then when I think of like the leafy greens, I get an irritated feeling. Like it's like when I create things as a chef is you taste them in your mind. So how my pain senses, and Kiko, you always bring up how I don't like negative words, like they make me, you see my face change. It's the same when I think of foods, and that's how I know what I can tolerate. So I start going through, but then what happens, I get really distressed when I start thinking of a lot of things and nothing works. And if you're inflamed, you can get a bit confused as well. But if that happens, my safety is celery and flax oil. Sometimes like electrolytes and just the omega-3s through my system. As it calms, it starts going, hey, I can do some greens. Hey, avocado's okay. I seem to be okay with avocado and tomato as long as there's nothing sweet in my system. I think because I have the dumping, I have, for anyone new here, I am missing like this part of my stomach and duodenum and top of intestines. And what that means is when you eat the food, it's called dumping syndrome. It dumps into the intestine, and the intestine is where sugars are pulled in. And so what happens is your heart starts racing and you get really disoriented. You get a really upset stomach. Since going raw, it's never been that bad again. But I think that's why it's, how I do sugars is probably going to eventually just be low carbohydrates, just so my system doesn't get taxed. But I don't know what the future holds, guys.
But you're very intuitive, and you're making this connection with your body every time that you're trying something new and see, okay, it's like your food diary that is super important to make when you're experiencing some symptoms. Like, okay, how is my body is listening and reacting or feeling with specific things that I'm nourishing it with, or then you realize what you're avoiding. Then when the emotion comes, I'm like, that comes interesting.
Yes. And on that, went back to my chiropractor last week, which really helped me. I feel like I get myself blocked up and I need someone to release it. Like when the way I used to eat, I feel like I used to use, like I went and saw chiropractors when I was younger or physios, is it, I'm using it like a drug. I'm not doing the work. I'm getting them to like crack me or help me back. And then I go and eat, do things that don't serve me. Right. And I never want to be like that. But I felt like I was really locked up and he really did adjust me and it really helped. But I was talking to him because they said when my FND, which is a functional neurological disorder, came on years ago, one of the symptoms are so weird, like nerves would just start, you get tics, you get seizures, you can't walk, you can't talk, you get it at different levels at different times. Basically, it's like having a stroke, but you don't have something physical in your brain. It's the software connection. And it's linked to trauma and all those sort of things. But one of the symptoms I have is a swinging head, and it won't stop going like this. Now, it's never been that bad on Raw, but I started to notice it coming up. And he said, well, you can actually hold things. And when something is, and when you start falling forward, things are a yes. Or things, if you're shaking, your body's probably talking to you. And I said, I think it is like that. I think internally, we are constantly, this is what a part of what I know was happening with the FND for me is we think things internally, but if the software connection's broken, what if some of the muscles start responding? And if you're very anxious, you're saying no a lot of the time. Like, and I feel like I was, and then I don't want to just go back to bed, right? But he's like, listen, like when you're around something and it gets really bad, he said, more than likely your body is saying like, no. And you would usually get, this is how I interpret it, I would usually get the message like, no, don't touch that, or ooh, or something. But instead, because you have a functional neurological disorder, it's coming out as a movement, which is still no. So I found that really interesting. Like
So
the body's it is.
yeah, super interesting.
It
And
is.
you know, well, Dulce, you had the tough time last year, right? Which you shared on Instagram. That was really incredible what you have put through. And maybe because of that, I was looking at you, Dulce, and you look like you had a plastic surgery. You look gorgeous. I mean, you always look gorgeous, right? But I don't know, I feel like your face kind of changed. Don't you
Yeah,
feel, no, Sky, you don't feel that way?
thank you.
Yeah, no, I
I'm
was
sure
thinking,
it changed because, you know, for me, it felt like a very big nervous system crisis. Um, like it can be kind of like a healing crisis where a lot of trauma also came back. But then the more you're connected to your body and the more you're like diving into the release, I was, I, I was super clean. I was like super, super clean before that happened. I was kind of incorporated or integrating a lot of things, and the safety and all around me was kind of physically good and emotionally supported by John. And then the things that I already shared with you guys behind the scenes, that really triggered me as a mother. and and then the fascia release that I was doing, I felt like it definitely changed a little bit of your face. It's kind of like release
Oh,
stuff.
interesting.
I don't know. And there's some exercises that I've been incorporating recently with your jaw, because the tension that I was experiencing on half of my face, and then I literally felt it all the way to my hips.
Oh,
Because like the tension that I felt like my body was trying, like the other side was trying to push or to support the other side, you know what I mean, that kept me unbalanced, and it felt super weird. I have a session. I had a session after the Texas Fruit Festival with Dr. Sam, and he's amazing on doing some um, fascia releases. And I had this session, and oh my god, the people that were around were able to experience the way that I was like releasing big time. I don't remember, like I wasn't feeling how high it was, the way that my body was, like my throat chakra was like boom open in that moment. But you, I don't know if you remember that after the facial paralysis, I went and managed a vegan wellness retreat, and then I fell in there. So I was using the crutches, and because I was carrying a baby in that moment, I didn't scream. I didn't like. I kind of suppressed that moment. And in that session, I screamed so loud that it was a release of that moment. And he was pointing on my knees, making those connections on my knees and the ankle and on the metatarsus of the right feet. So it's so interesting the
Wow.
way that we can release the fascia. And but for that, I needed to hydrate my body in a deeper way. So it's been an interesting working process, and yeah, maybe there's some changes, Kiko. I wouldn't be
Yeah, I think,
surprised.
Dulce, did you lose weight? Because you look thinner, and maybe I think your eyes look bigger than before. Let's see if she did the plastic surgery or not. Maybe she did the
Maybe
exact
because now
same.
I'm like yes, no, but I in that period of time of the facial paralysis, I lost a lot of weight waste. I wasn't able. If you remember, I wasn't able to eat properly. Like
Mhm.
close my mouth, and I was rolling, and so I was kind of like in liquids and with the emotional stuff as well, and doing a lot of breath work and just being more in nature, kind of fasting a little bit. But at the same time, I knew that I need to nourish extra to my nerves, to my brain, to everything, and on all the minerals and all the things that I needed to incorporate into my way of eating. And it wasn't like something planned to lose that much of weight, and then I recover it. And right now I'm in a very good way. But I've been cleaning my body a little bit. Um,
Mhm.
I'm gonna start another parasite cleanse, so let's see how it goes with that. But um, without nourishing the right amount of calories every day, because that's really important. I'm not gonna compromise myself.
Yeah, I think what I think is so important is when people come into the raw vegan diet, and because you were talking about nourishing, first off, you're absolutely incredible and inspiring for sharing the video, for going through what you went through,
Thank
for
you.
working with yourself. But I think a lot of people come into this community and not this community, but they want to heal, but they think that stripping or pulling away is what the body needs first off. And it can be depending where you are, but a lot of people are starving even if they've got excess weight on them. They've never, like, I felt this biggest calling when I first went raw, that I'd never loved myself, that I went through life up until I was 40, and no matter how sick I was, I had this ability to be able to project love out but never actually look in. And it was so important for me. I was very underweight. My liver was failing. I'd been an alcoholic. All these poisons have been going through my body. And everyone is at a different point. But it was so important for me to learn how to put nourishment in. And even like all that time I was sitting in nature, like some days 16 hours a day, right, it was nourishing like all these connections and feelings and emotions in my body, and helped me learn to love myself. And there's definitely, I feel like, different times where I go lighter and heavier, and that can help with healing. But a huge component for me is to make sure that I'm always loving myself, when I have been trained from such a young age to not focus on myself. So it's just something to think about, because I find nourishing the self, because I just find it even more difficult than if somebody goes, hey, eat grapes for 3 weeks, because you don't have to think about it. Like I mean, things will come up, but it's not, you don't have to be intuitive. You're basically overriding the things that are coming up. And I feel like I've been overriding things that have been coming up my whole life. And I for me do, I feel like I'm very intuitive, but when I have to sit in a space of nurturing myself, I prefer to go for a run. I prefer to get in the water. I prefer to like do anything but just sit with it. And I just want to encourage people that sometimes making yourself a bowl of soup, and that can be raw soup, or or making yourself, for me, it was the salad that saved my life. It was so because a lot of people go, I don't have time to make that. I'm like, life shouldn't be more. At a very basic level, if we need food and water and shelter to survive, as long as you've got the shelter, but even still without shelter, you've got to get food, right? I'd never learnt to spend time on what was the most important thing, which was like nourishing me. So
that's
a group. Yeah, you've talked about a very important point. Like a lot of people think that they need to remove that toxin out, so they're starving. And I've definitely gone through the same path. And yeah, going on a juice fast, water fast, whatever the fast is very easy. You don't have to think, and
you
you're
don't have to.
actually removing your intuition. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get like I see what Koala Mama's saying here. If you have parasites, you don't absorb though. But parasite herbs and fasting didn't work for me, and I had to take the medication in the end. And see, that you have to do what works for you in your journey. But I just think sometimes not rushing the process as well. A lot of people are like just say there's multiple protocols that remove parasites. And a lot of people are like, what is the top? What is the hardest? What is the fastest? Let me just slam my body. But what if you start to go, okay, this is going to be strong. I'm going to nourish my body, support me, calm my system. And there's I think it's wormwood or something like that. And you start very slow. And you have to sit with the emotions and the feelings that come up. And people prefer, because if you go hard on the body, whether it's pleasure or pain, you really can't feel much else. There's no sitting and, emotions come up as a whole. You go into like a drive force. And so it's just something for people to think about.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot go directly there. You have to prepare your body. You have to have a good communication with your mind, body, which is together, and really feel safe and ready to do that. Yeah, I know the relationship with parasites. I've been releasing parasites since I started my lifestyle, like change it. My lifestyle, like it's gonna be 4 years now, and I'm glad that my elimination pathways are open. But and that is the first thing that you have to realize to make a parasite cleanse.
Yeah.
Are your elimination pathways are really open? Then you can think about it. Because if you're just going into cleanses and then you're just reabsorbing the heavy metals, all these things, that's not good. So please always search for somebody who can guide you, and for anything. We're having the experience, and there's so many people that can help others, and just listen to your body, and see what resonates with you, and just kind of like go for that path. But yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
I was mentioning to Sky about the
Yes,
black
sorry, let me
walnut.
bring you up.
Yeah. So
Bring this down.
black walnut. I don't know if you have. I think this is a very common thing to do the detox, right? And remove the parasites in your body. And springtime is supposed to be a good time to do the cleanse. So, yeah. I started taking it because I just had it in my cover. I did it maybe, I don't know, 2.5 years ago or so, when I had a hard time just uh going fully raw. I was high raw, but for some reason I just couldn't go fully raw. And my friend told me that maybe it could be due to parasites. And I'm not sure if it's because of this, but after maybe I took it for a week or so every day, and you don't change the diet. I mean, you could change the diet. I didn't change the diet. I just stayed high raw. And after this, for some reason, I was able to go fully raw very easily. So that's
Oh,
I don't
I
know.
love.
Black walnuts supposed to be very good, right?
It's supposed to be better, the green one, I guess, which is like the raw rum. I'm not sure. I'm doing some tinctures that are really helping a lot, and then I'm just gonna finish the whole protocol, but it's very like easygoing, and I'm having like this knowledge and getting more wisdom and experience by a coach, which I am gonna be able to help others with the iridology certification that I'm doing. So, so that is helping a lot and guiding me into. I feel like the right path because I feel it in here. I'm checking with the kids as well and see how it works for them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I have to also say, so I don't know if it was again this. I don't know if it was this put remove this food addiction, but I do think this community helps so much staying fully raw. Going on this raw party, you know, once a week podcast with Sky and being able to connect it, right? That's helped so much on this journey.
For sure.
That's why I want to do it. And I love, and one thing I do promote is individuality and everybody being different. And I want everyone to be different. Like, I don't want people coming on and chatting and being like, we all do the same thing. We all eat the same way. We all fast at the same time. It's like, well, nobody looks the same. Nobody's got the same microbiome. Nobody's got the same history. Like nothing's the same.
Nobody
Like
has the same genetic weakness that you have to
yes.
support your body with.
Mhm.
Like everyone is like on their own journey, and we have to just like be compassionate, respect, guide if they ask for an advice. And
Yes.
like we are sharing here just to help others. But that doesn't mean that is what is the right exact thing for you, right?
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I love about this community. Like, no one is telling, oh, you have to do this one way, otherwise you would not be saved.
It's
So
impossible.
My parasite journey. So my whole goal was to not go off raw because I wanted to be well. But I did so I did more fruit and vegetables, and I did about 2 years on fruit. And towards the end of that, I got into the juices. And then after that, I got into the greens and nuts and seeds. And when I was having a lot of pumpkin seeds, and this is now 3 years, 3 years into raw, I randomly would get these moods that would come over me. And then I would need to go to the bathroom and I wouldn't think anything different. Like, I would just think I need to have a bowel movement or something. Then you go and then all that would come out would be parasites. And that's 3 years in.
wow,
But I
you
knew
have 3 years
when
ago you have that?
no, 3 years in. So that's 2 years ago. It was this big stage where I get these moods that would come over me, and then I'd go to the bathroom and all that would come out would be like a bunch of parasites. I took some photos. So I don't take photos of negative things. Because then it's like in my phone, everything for me is rainbows and sunshine.
Oh my god, I have
But
never
I
seen
did,
parasites. Like
but
that,
two
is it
parasites were really unusual looking, so I took pictures of those, and that's
You
pretty
never
much the only.
you never
was
Sorry.
dreamed with
was it
them?
Oh, sorry, Dulce?
was it
You never had a dream with parasites or something related?
No, I could have, but in fact, that's an interesting question. There's no memory or no awareness of it. It was like when it would, just before it would move, 45 minutes before, I would feel like a different person, really, like the anger, like mad, and like not even like how I remember hormonal mood swings, like something, possession, really. And then you go and you feel so much better, and it shocks you, right? And I was like, but I never focused on it. I obviously wasn't my calling at the time to focus on that.
Was it moving?
No, nothing ever moving.
But it just looked really different.
So when you, and people would relate to this, and I'm sure you guys do, is when you eat only food which is designed by nature and you have bowel movements, I think over time you just take for granted the way it looks, until something that doesn't sit with the same geometry and spectrum is what you think of. The geometry of like whole foods is sacred, it's beautiful, it's structured. And then you think of disease. It's like, I think of Dr. Emoto's work. You know, you get the very beautiful, we're attracted to it. Not that I'm attracted to my waist, but it's a certain look, right? It's very gentle. Yeah, yes, it's very like, it's just it's not, but when you get something which is acidic and like evil or like gross or pathogenic, it has that sick look, and it's like very circular and circles in on itself, and I've never seen anything like it. And they seem to kind of, I've never had the urge to go to the TMI, the bathroom where you just release it. Okay. Like I don't even have little moments where I have like a little bit of a bowel movement. I either have one or I don't. Like there's no like little bits of it coming out, and it just be like, and then you feel so much better when it comes out. You're like, oh my God.
You know, certain parasites supposed to be really good, right? Because I think, was it in Japan? I don't remember where, but they actually add certain parasites into to their body, and it's supposed to help some kind of disease or disease. Have you heard that?
Yes. So you do know that our microbiome is no different. It's just one is more microscopic and one is macroscopic, right? And we can see these different things. I believe the reason we have microbiome and we need to rely on it now is us as humans live in such toxicity, we can't do the job ourselves. Like I feel like we should just be in nature, sleeping on the earth and eating fruit. But we have so many different needs that can't be met because we're literally ungrounded around more ungrounding lights. We're stressed, the air's toxic. And so you put a film over a human and you get parasites doing a job which keeps us alive, and that's like a symbiotic relationship, right? Where we're getting great benefits. But you have to remember is if you pull parasites out of a body that is still toxic, like those parasites are actually eating away at toxicity. So we're better to get you need to get rid of the toxicity because it's kind of helping you. Like it's eating things that you don't want inside your system. That's my theory. But as for parasites in the body, I know that when you get like wounds and like gangrene and burns, they use things like leeches and stuff to clean the area because they'll eat necrotic tissue and like just put a whole heap, and then when they're full, they just drop off the person. So
yeah, so there are certain parasites that's bad and certain that's really good.
But like, yeah, it's the relationship. All you have to think about is what relationship is this parasite creating. So if something latches onto you and starts eating you alive, that's like a pathogen, right? But if something latches onto you and gives you, I don't know, nitrogen, and you give it, I don't know, carbon dioxide, it becomes a symbiosis. So it depends. It's all about what it's actually doing. And, you know, you see this in nature where you get like the cleaner fish that follow sharks around, the leftover food from the shark, the leftover food that the sharks eat and the protection. I can't think what these little fish are called. They get, but then the cleaner fish are keeping the shark clean. So it's like it's a relationship. So
yeah, exactly.
So that's a good way. But I'd have to look up. I'd have to go and have a chat with ChatGPT to find out what specific parasites, which are probably in Latin. So
I will search also.
But
It's interesting.
vegetarian.
When I had the facial paralysis, between the first moment that I experienced it, which is what it was super subtle, like compared on what I experienced at midnight. Like it would just be like, huh, it's so weird. Not as concerning as a stroke, because I was like, okay, I right away searched like, what is this? What's going on? Should I just go to check myself and be with all the fear and all the thoughts of doctors and telling me you have to do an MRI, you have to do this, you have to do that. I'm like, am I ready to do that? Do I really need to do that? I was just like trying to listen to my body, and I was in the perfect place because we were in the ocean, and what I had to do, like I had big releases of bowel movements in that moment. Like in, let's say, in 3 hours or something,
Oh,
the
wow.
darkest things that I have ever released out of my body were that in that moment. Like super crazy. Super
Wow.
crazy. Yeah.
That's so interesting. It's so good that you were listening to your body when you went through that.
Yeah, because it was scary because we had the kids, and like really John helped me a lot with that. Like once I experienced the full paralysis on the on half of my face, it was midnight, or even later, and literally we breath, like we were sitting together and we were breathing together, so I could like overcome that and anxiety, or I don't know, it was like a panic attack or something, but because it was really, really scary. Um, uh, yeah, it was super hard the moment. But it's interesting what we were talking about, that the bowel movements are giving us even more information about what's going on or what you're releasing. That to me really felt like a healing crisis. Um, but yeah, did you find anything?
Yeah, so someone's, oh, sorry, I was going to bring this up about, I think they are called remoras. This is about, but as for, there's so many, there'd be so many. Kiko, did you have a look?
I did, but it's not concrete. But I was thinking that one of the healing modality is to put who's healthy, someone's stool who's healthy, to put that stool into someone who's sick, and like the effect is immediate, apparently, right? So that, I think that's back microbiome that's going in, maybe along with some kind of good parasites, and yeah, maybe that's similar to that.
Oh yeah, that's epigenetics. So I always recommend, if you're on my channel, go and have a look at the interview I did with Dr. Toomey, who is a doctor and also a raw vegan. And she talks a lot on how it's like 5% of our genetics is actually unchangeable, as in like it's not very much at all. Like it's like eye color, or I'm not sure. Everything else is switched off and on. And we all know that, because once we get healthy, right, everything changes, from your hair strength, your eye, well, even your eye, I think they just clear up. My skin started to tan, but all the diseases aren't expressed. And so, yeah, they found this by taking two rats, one that was obese and one that was really tiny, and they took bits of the bowel and injected them high up. I think they have to do it a few times for it to take, and then the fat rat became skinny, and the skinny rats became fat if you put the microbiome, because you just
Yeah,
start different genes, right?
you're speaking of Dr. Toomey Johnson.
Yes. Have you interviewed her? She's interviewing.
No, so it says, I didn't know, I didn't follow her, but dancer, poet, medical doctor, author of Delicious Healing. I create and perform healing dances for individuals and art spaces. Oh, very interesting.
It's interesting, right? Because she has a medical degree, but when you talk to her, you can see her biggest care and passion is the dance. Besides her family, yes, she danced. Even when she did a residency in Africa, she talks about how she would get up with the sun and find this space and just dance. And she went into a crisis herself because she finished amazing woman, while she was a professional dancer at top dancing school, she was also doing her medical residency and degree. And then she became a raw vegan. And in the last year, she's like, well, what do I do now? I don't really believe in this. So she went to France and she sat with it for a year. You know, she didn't just rush in and go, I'm going to do this to make money. She sat with it. And it's beautiful because what she did is she became a practitioner who is literally 50-50. Because, and she also speaks about how some of the medications can be used to help, to control, and also giving a person power if they choose to use herbs or raw food. She has that knowledge, but also if they choose to use medicine combined. So, but most of it, you can tell most of her heart is the dance. Like she lights up, and a lot of when she talks and she comes on camera is dancing. It's not sitting there going, you need protein or you need to take herb or you know, it's dance. You'll see she's always dancing. Love that.
I love that. I mean, there's nothing that she mentioned in raw vegan, but it's very high vibe.
Yes, she's very raw as well. So she's very high into the fruits and stuff as well.
Oh,
That's amazing.
so nice. So sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was also going to say, just for those that are interested, so it says to fix or treat, using parasites to fix or treat human ailments is known as helminthic therapy, and it focuses on using specific parasitic worms to treat autoimmune and inflammatory diseases. These parasites are believed to modulate, and this is no different to the microbiome, to modulate the immune system, alleviating conditions arising from modern biome depletion. So basically they're just bigger microbiomes. Isn't it funny how the perception of something, and you know, like the microbiome can have toxic bacteria and we can get the toxic, and basically the microbiome's toxicity is not essentially that one bacteria is worse than another. It's how much of the bacteria and where it grows when it becomes toxic. Here's some of the parasites. So the human hookworm is often used in clinical trials. It attaches to the small intestine, and it's been treating Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, and asthma. The pig whipworm also, although it infects pigs, it only causes self-limiting temporary colonization in humans, making it popular for treating inflammatory bowel disease and Crohn's disease. And a rat tapeworm is inexpensive parasite used to treat inflammation diseases. There's a few others, but basically we're saying it depends where it is. And it's kind of like what Koala Mum is saying here, right, is she had a toxic boyfriend that latched onto her. And I mean, he might make somebody else happy. You know, like he might be just like a parasite, make one person happy and the other person is like
it's all about matching, right?
Yeah, it's like it's a frequency, right? Like you may be in this is what I think, you may be in a stage where you need to purge, or you know, you're in a really dark place and something coming in and sucking some poison out of you saves your life. But in a healthy raw vegan, and you somewhere and something starts sucking on you, the poison's so strong you get sick.
Yeah. Hey, and you know, I wanted to go back to what I was mentioning, how Dulce looked like she got plastic surgery.
When you crack me up. Do you know what's funny about Kiko before you go on? Is I get on camera and I'm like, oh, I'm doing keto. I go, I feel so much better. She'll go, you can tell you look better. I'm like, I love Kiko's honesty. She'll always be like, you know, I was used to you looking tired all the time, but now you look much better.
I mean, you look beautiful. You know, just like what was it Koala Mama mentioning that, you know, Sky has so many looks, but in all forms she's beautiful. And you know, you do look beautiful, and you know, I always felt this way. You know, that looking at you now and looking at the photo like 4 years ago, that's a huge difference, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
and I could tell that because I've been, speaking with Sky every week. I can tell like when something irritates you, I
Mm.
can tell immediately like something is
Well,
bothering you.
I look back and I have bags under my eyes. When I'm not doing well, I'm like, I look at pictures and I'm whiter and there's bags under my eyes. Like you're pulled down, right? And then when you feel better, you're lifted. Like that's why Dulce's feeling better. So she's lifted. Sorry, I interrupted there, Kiko. So
No, so wait, get back to Dulce's plastic surgery. No, she has not done that. But this is what I love about raw vegan journey, because I have seen this with so many people. I have been on this journey for 22 years, and when people go on fully raw journey, and many times they go back yo-yoing, and even if they stay fully raw, if they um stay on high fat like cashew, if they eat a lot of cashew, which is very easy to eat a lot of cashew nuts, then I can see in their face next day, it's their face is inflamed and their mood is lower and heavier. And I just love seeing this change, right? uh I mean, I try not to be too direct, but with Sky I can tell
there's
how it
no
is.
holding back. There's you go straight for the neck.
But I like people to be honest and say, Kiko, what happened? What did you do to yourself? You look a bit, I don't know, not so good today. I don't mind people telling me that.
No,
You know,
I appreciate that.
You know what I was thinking? So I'm just reading what Koala Mama said here, and she said once many years ago when she was pregnant with my son, I caved into cravings, and like I know in the community it's very common for women to not always stay raw. They sometimes go back to some steamed vegetables and things like that. But when I notice, like when I start doing like fruit, right, I can look really lose a lot of inflammation, like some of the most inflammation, but then sometimes I don't look so good. And that's why I feel like you have to find your sweet spot where you've got a little bit of mass, but you're not puffy. But then sometimes I go like too much and all my limbs you can feel just don't have right now what they need. So I always am looking for that, like different times and different cycles. We have that Goldilocks zone.
Mm, yeah, definitely.
We need to find our sweet spot. But someone was talking about kale chips. I never make kale chips. I've never made them.
Yeah, I
I
don't think I've
have.
ever made them either.
I have. The
Oh,
kids like it.
You
oh,
like
they
it?
would.
Yeah.
What did you
It's just
say,
like
Dulce?
say again.
You made it and you like it?
Yes, I like them. It's just that then I just can eat, depend on the recipe that I make. If it's low fat, then I can eat the whole thing. But if it has too much fat, like my mouth is like, meh, you had enough. Um, the kids like it. I love just to have the crunchiness sometimes of the kale, like when it's in the dehydrator, and just put a lot of lime in it. That's how I like it the most.
Oh, that's
But
interesting.
but the kids like it like with a mix of you can use whatever nut you like with a lot of paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, like all these spices that you can have on the chips, the regular chips that they sell outside. um so you make the mix, nutritional yeast or whatever it is, and people use coconut aminos and something like that. I can't remember the whole recipe. And then you massage the kale and then you put it in the dehydrator. But like I said, it's it's fun for them.
Yeah, I
They're
think
young. It just depends on the recipe that you're using.
right. I think it's like a side dish, and I have a hard time making side dish. When I make something, I want the dish to be full meal, to satisfy me.
Yeah.
So
It sounds like Koala Mama made a 2-day full meal out of them. I think that's what people worry about, right? And that's why I
wow.
I try not, I feel like this journey you learn so much, right? But going and doing high fruit for 2 years and then trying to put things that your body needs back in, it creates chaos. So I like to never completely restrict anymore, because I feel like, I'm not saying that's what happened to Koala Mama, but when you put like, when you start need salt, because I had a salt deficiency, and your body isn't used to it, and you have too much and you get side effects, you're like, I hate this, like that full battle. So that's why, like, if I do any like rest, like breaks, or change my diet in any way, I don't want to go too far from like variety, because you need variety, right? Variety is feeding the microbiome. It's giving us a whole lot of nutrients. But I just have never had the calling to make them.
Yeah.
That's very keto for you, right? You can make it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes. But what I'm doing now works best. So what I'm learning, the reason I kept going off keto was because I was getting dry. And then I do what I say to people not to do, and that is say that something doesn't work, where you just work harder at what you're doing. Like, what is hydrating, right? Is don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater, because it seems to work. I get really unwell when I start having the fruit again. So I'm like, cucumber, small amounts of tomato, avocado is more hydrating. I think I was doing too many seeds, oil, and salt. And so I think that was all.
In the winter, like when you feel like you're doing more nuts. It's in the winter usually for you.
Yeah, me?
Mm-hmm.
No, unfortunately, I've struggled with this all through summer as well. When all the fruits are around, is I've had to go, and that's, I was more dehydrated, and it was summer, right? And then all the fruits are around, and I'm like, I want fruits, and then I get so sick. I'm like, you can't be here. And so then I go back on it, and really quickly, the first few days, it's like mostly celery water and flax oil, and I just get really well really quickly. And then I seem to be able to, but I'm just staying in that more. That would be very keto, but then I don't want to be dry right now. But yes, that's probably a good something. That's the second focus, right? Is I got to stay in it with high omega-3s, but don't have too much salt, because then all people doing other keto are like, you need a lot of salt, you need this. I'm like, well, it doesn't work for me. It's not. I don't want to try.
As long as it's not emotional eating, that that craving is like, I don't know if it can be the lack of the minerals of those, or if it's really, really a craving, then you should pay attention. Hey, what's going on? Well, I'm just pointing to that direction, you know.
I mean, Sky is very inspiring, because you don't eat banana, you don't eat fruits nowadays, but you make it work fully raw, right?
You feel so much better. Like, you just feel so much better. Like, it's, especially if as I said, if I stick to, and you can see I gravitate towards the fruits I can have. So this has got avocado, cucumber, tomato, bell pepper in it. And I've just made sure they've stayed in keto doses. Avocado is fine, but then you don't want too much avocado because it can feel drying. Cucumber's great. Celery can replace the salt, and I have that. So I've made it work, because the output is not just I'm well, it's you feel like, I forget, because even the last few days being back on keto, but with the higher amount of raw food and less nuts and seeds, so more avocado, more of the flax oil, and mostly just fresh culinary fruits and veggies, the universe is just singing again. And I think trying to do keto, blasting nuts and seeds and salt, it steals my glitter. It's just my glitter. Like, my glitter's coming back, and I like that. Like, that's why we do it. If you're raw, you know what it's like. The universe it's not just colors, because people can say, oh, the colors are brighter. It's like everything talks, and I love that.
Yeah, the spiritual connection is crazy, right? Like, you just go into the nature, and you feel like you become one.
Yes.
And and it's something that it's very difficult to explain if you haven't experienced it, right?
Yeah, I think it's hard to explain, because you're not privy to it unless you've done the work. Like, when there's no words in the English language to explain it, it kind of speaks for where the planet's at. Like, nothing in the density I used to know can possibly explain. Like, not even saying the word vibration, because it's more than that. Like, when you see, and I think you have to have a faith and believe to get to it. Like, I don't think it's one of those things where you can buy a protocol and be enlightened. Like, I think, it's, you have to be, I believe in this. This is for me. I love me enough. I want to know me deeper. And you start to stay in a realm which opens this for you. And then you think you'll walk out and you'll be like, everybody, I'm going to cure the world. This is what's going to, and everyone's like, what the F are you talking about?
Right. We're not in the same vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, like you're like your world. You can't understand that nobody else sees it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
Like,
when I was
everyone's in different densities, and
Yeah,
that's
it's
hard.
a frequency. What
Yes.
you are tuning
Yeah.
onto, then you can experience about it, you can talk about it. And then I always have like in mind just to be humble about it, because then I have to work more on my ego or something like that. But yeah, it's just the tuning that we're resonating at the moment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
and when I was living in Costa Rica, I remember like I've met a bunch of crazy raw vegans, and some of them,
No,
Not
yeah,
us.
I
there's
We're
no
not crazy.
mean, crazy vegan. I mean, and then they would some of them want to stay fully raw or high raw to get the effect of drugs, so like
I
hard
don't think
drugs.
You
it
can do
works.
that with breath work, I guess.
You were saying, Sky?
I don't think it works like that. So I think when I try and get there by like, I'll just do watermelon juice, it's going to fix me really quickly, it backfires. Like, I feel like you have to do the work for it to open up.
Yeah.
Like-
I mean, definitely that's true. But they just found out, those drug addicts, they found out when they stay high raw or fully raw, their effect is much stronger. But what they didn't realize that,
Oh, so they take having raw vegan while they're doing heroin
Right.
or whatever drug of choice. That's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But I mean, if they stay high raw long time, they can just get the high raw, like high
No.
feeling of being raw without any drugs, right?
Yeah, but you know what happens, and I can speak on this because I was an alcoholic and I was vaping, and in fact, I think I had still some. I'd just come off as well the basically amphetamines from being on for ADHD, because those were prescribed, right? Is when you eat, I wasn't even fully raw. I was whole foods trying to do more raw. I didn't know I had to be raw at this stage. When you're hungover or you're coming off amphetamines or whatever, and you've got raw in your system, it's like being tortured. Like, it wasn't even just raw, because you're so dense and in such a dense reality. It's, like if you've drunk, imagine being hungover with like basically celery and carrots and a few leaves in your system. You literally burn alive. So that's why people would go, I reckon that sounds messy. That sounds not great.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not long term. They just found that it just highlighted their
That's
ecstasy, I
great. That
guess.
is crazy. That's
Yeah,
definitely
but
crazy.
I remember watching Jillian's interview with Johnny the juicer, and I think he was mentioning he was doing a lot of drugs,
Oh,
and he
wow.
said that going fully raw was like so much better, like million times better than his hard
100%.
drug. Yeah, and that's I keep hearing that there's another guy living in Hawaii. Oh, you've met him, very
But
handsome.
me, I've been on ketamine, amphetamines. I've been on Oxycontin, Valium. I've done recreational just to numb pain, not excessively when I was younger. And I'll tell you, nothing. Like, I was literally on multiple of these drugs for years, all at once. SSRIs are literally the same as ecstasy. They do the same. They lock onto the same receptor sites. It's just they stay there. So it's basically like I had this dopamine overload for like 15 years.
Wow.
And then like all at once, and then they ripped it, including estrogen, increases dopamine and neurotransmitters, and they took that off. I put a little bit of that back in, and that's all. But nothing, you don't feel whole. So drugs numb, distract, and you still, it's almost like the crap way that you already think and behave just feels better. So you don't feel as bad about yourself, right? You do, when you do things which are bad, like on top of that, smoking and drinking or watching crappy shows or feeling like crap, it just makes you feel good when you're doing bad. But when you're raw, you feel so good, and then you exercise and you feel even better, and then you be around good people, you feel better, you have a meal, and it just keeps adding up, and it's like whole. Like that's the difference. Is I feel like it just, drugs make you feel good doing crap, and then you feel whole. That's the difference.
You didn't experience, like, while you were starting your journey as a raw vegan, like this need of working into those things that we suppress, so you can actually feel whole when you actually feel those emotions that we suppress during lots of years.
So
it's like a meditation, I feel.
So I think my journey is a little bit different because I lost my a lot of my emotional memory in 2018 with all those drugs. I'm not surprised. Not surprised I didn't completely lose my memory. But, and with all the trauma, right? It took, my memory emotionally didn't start coming back until after I juiced, not even juicing. It was after I juiced, I started getting memories where you feel something. So, you know, whether that's good or bad. And so I feel like I'm starting to go through, and it's a rocky road where so much is coming up at the moment, but it means I've got more of myself back. So people who are going through it should think about that. Like it is better to have yourself whole than not feel anything at all. I was describing to Kiko what it feels like is when you're in the midst of a bushfire, you don't sit around, reflect about how that's actually affecting you. You run. You run as fast as you can to get out of the fire. And when you're safe and your nervous system still has to calm, you will then process like the horror. And I think that's what happened to me. I think it took 3 years of running. And even then it's more of a come down. And now I feel a lot of days where things come up, but at the same time, I've got more of me back. And I have to remember that. Like, I have this whole time wanted to find Sky again. I used to speak about her very deeply as different versions, like, and when I would think of one, I couldn't remember things for the other. And each of these people surround horrific times in my life. Like there's the one that lost the stomach. There was the one that had the hysterectomy and the chronic pain. There's the one that was basically thrown on the floor of a psych unit. There's the one that I went missing in the bush. Like there's all these different versions. There's so many different versions. So when people say Sky looks different, I am different people.
Literally, she was lost in bush. I mean, it's not, it's the real news that came out in Sydney.
Yeah, we can Google it. You can see a whole of Sydney, all the SES and police and everyone was looking for me. And then I nearly died because I was so cold. I was in a trash can trying to sleep, and then they picked it up and they nearly put it in the claws, you know, to like there's so many different levels. Like I don't think the human brain was designed to process that. Plus, then you add drugs to all that. Like most of these are all of them are really prescription, except. Then no wonder I was drinking to suppress. Who doesn't want to drink to suppress that, right? But then raw brings you present, so you don't have to live in the past. I feel like most of my life I was just reliving my past, going deeper and deeper into horrors. And then raw keeps me enough in the moment to not relive that. So
Wow,
is going keto helping you? It's actually
yes.
Like,
so if someone was
trauma.
if someone was to say what happens with, because I quickly put the fruits back in, what happens is I'd like to say it's the FND, which is basically shell shock, a combination of shell shock, locked-in syndrome. So the thing about psychiatric illness is depending on which day a psychiatrist sees you is depending on the diagnosis. I feel like I've been diagnosed with all of it just because it's much deeper than that. Sorry, I've gone off. What did you ask me again? I just started like raving on about something I was very excited about. So excited I forgot.
Is keto helping? Because you're going
keto.
through some trauma and flashback, right?
Yes.
Is keto
Yes.
helping
So
you with that?
the fat literally feels like, so most of the time I didn't realize how bad my tinnitus was and the buzzing and my nerves are always twitching. And that gets worse and worse the more sugar I put in. It's like I'm to the point where you just watch my toes and they don't stop moving and I can't control that. And it all came back on really quickly. And that's why I was sitting on this edge. I was so distressed. I made that video, that live on Saturday, because I was really distressed and I couldn't talk to mum, so I didn't know what to do. So I got online and just processed it online because it's too much. And what happens with fat, especially omega-3s, is it feels like it just latches onto the nerves and just coats it. Like that everything is just so coated and that it comes, and it's not good, the combination of sugar still being in there. But the more you have it, the more the system just comes. And I can't believe how quiet the universe is because I'm so used to, and histamines do this as well. Histamine overload gives you the itchy throat, scratchy eyes, scratchy ears, basically tinnitus. So all of that just calms so much. And very quickly I'm back running Pilates, I'm back doing videos. I don't think it's just fat. I do think it's keto and fat. And I don't think everyone has to be in it, but it's a way of doing it that if I feel like it just puts the brakes on, right? Everything
nourishing your brain.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
And you have to try ginkgo biloba?
I'm really sensitive to any herbs. I don't think I have, but what tends to happen is I don't know how they're taken, and I'm better off taking a vitamin than I am a herb, because herbs are a food which is sitting on a shelf, which just 2 days after you pick a food, it creates histamines. Every day after, it creates more. So I think I'm almost a bit traumatized by anything like that right now. Yeah. But who knows, once my system calms, what it is possible of doing.
Yeah, because what it does, as what I know, is that it's like the connector to your cells and to your brain. So dive into it and see if you can find it fresh.
I will. Yeah, yeah, so that's and I was just reading Peggy's story here. Sky, I'm listening to you and I'm realizing that my story sounds so much like yours. After my husband passed away, doctors put me on so much medication and I don't remember about 6 years of my life. Wow. I think this is more common than we realize. It's just, so when I think of going through these times where, you know, I'm having stomach removed and I'm having such severe pain, I'm on ketamine and Botox in the spine, all these things, it's like that fire situation is you can't process anything because you're just surviving. Like how my brain works is in this situation. If someone goes, I would love to say the beach, but I lived on a waterfront. Do you want to come down to the water? I'd first off have to process if I have any energy. And then I'd have to be like, where's my walking stick? Has somebody got the hot water bottle? I also need an ice pack. I need to alternate. Where are my medications? Are they all in process? Now, on top of that, if I do this, it'll take me about 2 days to get over it. So I have to then take that into consideration. That's how your brain works. It doesn't go, oh my God, the beach or the front. We love jumping off the wharf. It doesn't work how it should. And it's not processing the fact that you're suffering, you're losing your life. And I think that contributes massively. And then I wonder how much the brain just, all these antidepressants that especially when I think of the drugs which mimic things that our body does. So things that we get addicted to mimic what the brain already does, like amphetamines and Valium and even opioids, right? The reason you need more is your body just stops doing what it could do itself, and you need more. But when medical industries love creating drugs which are non-addictive, and then they love prescribing these. And what I feel those SSRIs did was probably the worst out of the bunch, because I never processed anything. Like, it literally, like ecstasy or any other, the other drugs you have to keep taking more and you can't, right? But this literally makes everything feel happy when it shouldn't be. You should be so uncomfortable that you're forced to keep seeking and find an answer. And that doesn't happen anymore. And that doesn't take away that I believe that these things can help in emergencies. If, like, that's what I think of medications, right? Is they're there for, they're great for, but if you stay on it and eventually for some reason you're taken off, you are 20 years worse. No wonder I lost my memory. You can't process all of that. Like, the mask comes off, and it's too much even. Yeah. So that, I think, is it's like, I just think that's, I'm not saying what to do. It's just something to think about when, you know.
I chose not to have the medications because I did went with my friends. Their husbands are doctors, and so they were worried about me. Like, Dulce, are you sure it's not a mini stroke? Da, da, da. Let me just prescribe you whatever they give for the facial palsy, for Bell's palsy. And I have a bag because I felt bad not picking it up because they prescribe it and it wasn't that expensive. So I'm like, okay, I'll have it in the house. I still have it closed. Like, but they said, whenever you're gonna take it, you're gonna feel a lot of anxiety. And I'm like, what? I already have it.
That will give you an anti-anxiety. Then the anti-anxiety gives you reflux, and then they need to give you Nexium, and then you're constipated, and then you need a laxative. And in 3 weeks' time, you're on 5 medications, and that's okay if it's an emergency, right? But it doesn't stop. If you stay on it, it's drug. Sorry, I just said it because that just goes on.
Because Sky has gone through the same thing.
There. Like, it doesn't stop. Sorry.
No, you're right. I'm like, okay, so this is supposed to help me. Okay. And then I felt bad to throw it away and contaminate. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
God, you're so sweet. You're so sweet.
Anyway, but yeah, it's so crazy. Like, okay. I know that there's some things that are really good and you may need it at the moment, but I felt like I had the capacity to listen to my body, and nothing made me feel better than doing breath work in that moment, and then incorporating more stuff that I just felt like resonating with. And I started watching a movie or reading a book that you always be in the medicine, and they put you to do some inner work, So what I'm experiencing right now, and then German new medicine too. So traditional Chinese medicine, I'm like, I'm gonna go to what I feel attracted to, and I shared this with Kiko. When I received my personalized traditional Chinese medicine, as soon as I opened it, it was like this dust of the herbs that just like look perfect, and felt that this is the right thing to me. Like,
that's what it
smells
should
so
be
beautiful. Yes. And like literally like something magical. And because when you open something that is like powder, and it opens, and then the lid has some of it, a little bit. So I was just like, oh, thank God. And I drink it, and I had to drink it as hot as I could. So it was like a very intentional moment every time I sip into it and allow it to my body, and speak to it as well. Because I was speaking to myself in the mirror, and saying like, this is temporary, this, like, you're gonna smile back again, and and also I cry a lot, like looking at myself, like not being able to, like, okay, I'm gonna accept this, but I know that this is this is gonna pass, and I'm gonna reverse it, and God will help me. And
Yeah,
super
I love.
grateful for that.
Yeah, I
How
love the Instagram reel that you've done. That was so beautiful. It was, I remember you speaking to yourself. This is just temporary, and I felt the pain so much that you are going through at the same time. But that was beautiful. Everyone has to see this. Dulce's Dulce's reel on her recovery. It's so beautifully done.
Thank you, Kiko. I put just the ones that I felt like can help someone, because I was kind of like recording every day to see the difference. And I know a person that experienced Bell's palsy, and she still struggles, or struggle for a long period of time, like years. um so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see how this works. And I was searching as well on YouTube, like people that reverse it, how, what did they do, like what took from them, like just consequences or whatever it is, whatever they help themselves. And I was just like, I'm gonna record this, I'm gonna see, because I was by myself. My ex-husband was taking care of the kids after we have this trip, just to put everything that I could into my self care. So I was recording every day to see how much it was changing. And it was so interesting because the nerves were kind of reconnecting with each acupuncture session. Like I was
Mm.
feeling like the buzz on the nerves, and like from this part all the way to top. And there was specific moments on different sessions where as soon as they put the vibration on the needle, it was like a big pain that I had to scream, and my leg like was like reacting to it. And I'm like, oh my
Mm.
God, there's something in here that needs to connect or flow. But it's so interesting because it was like the reaction from my nerves, right? So yeah, it just, when something is gonna work for you. And thank God I've been studying a lot, and kind of like preparing myself to help others. So I had a lot of knowledge, and I had a lot of people that I was able to ask questions. A lot of um, the coaches that are in the community, raw vegans, and they were helping me a lot. So, and you guys too. So it was very handy to be in the community at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah. But yeah, like I said, when something works for you. This, I appreciate it so much, but I said, no, thank you. I don't need to add any more anxiety to my life at the moment. I cannot handle. Like, no, no, no. I need to be connected. I don't need anything else that maybe it's gonna make me heal this as what they think is fast. But I now I know what I or our bodies are capable, and our mind, and their reprogramming and breath work, and the release of those things that emotionally felt that affect my health in that exact day, which was really directed
Mm.
to my motherhood, and my like I just came back from Mexico, and the health of my dad isn't as good as I would like. So all of those things really stress my nervous system a little bit more. But yeah, there's good things that can help you guys. There's just have to follow your intuition basically, and see what can help you. and and it's okay
yeah.
to take something that um, might be temporary as well, that you're not going to be dependable on, but depends on the situation that you're experiencing. If it's something that like a trauma on your body,
Yeah,
uh,
that's
yeah, take something, you know.
that's definitely, gosh. Like when I hear your story, I think of how much you, because if you're taking medications, it's very hard to connect to anything spiritually, like get in touch. You made your body feel safe. And that's half the battle, right? Is you're talking to yourself, this is just temporary. You're feeling, you're like tapping into those nerves and giving it that space to heal. I mean, essentially mast cell activation or histamine issues, which I get, is you're scared of everything. Your nervous system's scared of literally everything. It can't feel safe. And then you feel constantly unsafe because you don't know when it's going to hit again. And so what you're saying there, and by, you know, I know everyone's situation is different, but and if it's getting near death, of course, or very traumatic, is you put a brake on. But the more you can put your body into a safe space, you can move through it. I think that's really important, because when talking to someone like Jamie Love and about how she struggled with food addiction, and how there's this misconception that we can get addicted to anything, not to process things, like whether that's food, or we spoke about exercise or things, or drugs in some cases for some people. And they're really no different if you're not getting to the, if you're not getting to the root cause. And I always think when I listen to you speak is to how I picture in my mind when you're explaining how you're like weaving through this road, getting to your destination, like step by step you're moving. Whereas a lot of people don't want to walk down the road. But what they don't realize is the more they're putting the excess, the addictions, the addiction to sex or whatever they get addicted to, is it's almost like a dam, right? Is you're not only not processing what you need to, you're not processing more and more and more, and including the trauma you're creating, like that disordered thinking. So it's very beautiful, and it's very, very, very inspiring.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
I agree.
Takes a lot of courage. It's not easy.
But
Well,
in
to
a way,
do
I
that,
think,
you share it
yeah.
too. So there's two things. You've done it, but now you're also putting yourself out there and sharing it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I felt bad because not even John saw those videos. Nobody, not even my kids. Nobody had seen those videos before. So I was like, I'm sorry,
Wow.
but I just cannot put it just by myself. So I need this. I recorded for an intention. So I feel like ready to share it in case somebody needs it, right? But I felt bad because it was a hard time that they experienced in a different way. My parents didn't even know until I had a call, and then my eye moved differently, and they were like, "What's wrong with your eye?" And I had, "Oh yeah, well." So I kind of like digested for them a little bit, and John was all the way, and the kids were all the way, but they weren't when I was like releasing all these things. So it was hard for them to watch it. My kids they didn't watch it, but eventually and maybe. Uh,
I'll be
but
back,
John was
guys.
yes.
Sorry, one sec.
It was
I'll be
hard.
back.
But
Yeah.
I guess it's I really felt the need to share it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's very hard, but I like how you, I'm like you. I like to just go with the, get to the problem and work through it rather than just kind of, mask it with medication. Because I know that at the end, you would have to deal with it
Yeah.
at the end, right? And I think longer you wait, the harder it gets. So I know a lot of people say that, "Oh, Kiko, you're so courageous to do this," but I just know that this is the easiest way.
Yeah. No, I mean we have luckily we have had this path where we have seen how we can reverse and we can help our body and support it, and like eventually if you're doing all the things and doing breath work, and like if you're not integrated into your life, then your body and your nervous system is not gonna make that connection, or make it feel safe to finally kind of like release and heal. That's what I was saying, like when we are in this path, there's an invitation to actually express those emotions that we've been suppressing for years. So that's how I felt. Just talking from my experience.
Yeah.
The cleaner you go, the more ways that you're just letting go.
Mhm.
Right. Well, thank you, guys.
I think it's I just think it's so beautiful how everybody's story is comes through differently, and we can all learn from each other, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Different people. That's the symbiosis. There was someone was saying something up here just about how I missed that. I missed a couple.
Oh, Koala Mama says she didn't tell her how. I can understand. Yeah. She couldn't share. Oh, go ahead.
I didn't see that.
Sorry, no, I'm further up. I can get back to that one. I jumped all the way up, but I was going to say gluten is poison said that interesting that parasites can be used for therapeutic use.
Yeah.
I just think, that was really good. And there was another one as well. He was saying about how he or she was saying just about I've done banana mono cleansers for the first time. I swear it's given my digestive system a bit of a break. My magnesium was really low, so I think correcting that is helping me. I just think we were so designed to do things, right? And a lot of us, because of our trauma, are so blocked off from trusting in ourselves. Like we've lost so much trust in ourselves. And when we can relearn and relearn, but do things like this to help ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, the connection.
I like this one too. The earth realm always finds a way to make us do the real healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautifully said.
It is. It is. And then Koala Mama said about the cancer. So, yeah.
Yes.
Kiko,
very interesting. I didn't want to hear the noise of everybody's opinion, like the fear of like just going to the hospital to like just to make sure that it's not a stroke. Well, there's signs that you can realize if you are having a stroke or not. So I was making sure that I didn't have anything like that. If that was the case, I would go and do different stuff. But you don't want to have. I was telling you, I don't want to go there, and everybody's gonna be telling me, "Oh no, this can be happening." Da, 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 da. I don't want any more of what I already know and I am experiencing. So, I don't want to worry people, and I don't want to go where I know better. That I don't need any other people telling me what just I can hear in my body, or I don't know. It's interesting. I totally understand her by not sharing with their parents, because you're worried about them too. Because I live in a different country, like what they can do. It's interesting. But then you also need your community, your people, where you can charge a little bit and keep working and fighting or whatever it is, healing.
When I was healing, I found such trust when I guess I'd lost everything a couple times. But when I think of that, is the one thing that kept shining at me and is everywhere. And if I can see it locked up in psych units, you can see it everywhere. And that is nature. The power of nature, like that when you're sitting there, this awareness that the sun and the moon just keep going by my window. You can keep seeing them. And then when you get outside in the courtyard, the plants, they're there, like whether it's a flower, whether it's a leaf, like they're always there. Rubbing your feet in the dirt and holding on to the dirt, it's always going to be there. And then as I got let out of the hospital, let out for 15-minute intervals, is you start touching flowers and you're like, they're always there. Like if you've lost trust in everything, the trust. And then when I got onto raw and everything starts lighting up like a Christmas tree, I just wanted to immerse myself so deeply in it. And I think I was locked in there up until recently, I talk about this morning that recently, only about a month ago, I went walking or doing my running, and I got this download that like, because I always talk to the sun in the morning, right? The nature, but that the sun, like, we have conversations and downloads, said you're now free, like you're now back, like you're basically like back on earth. And since that point, I've never felt, I guess it's almost like a dissociative state. I feel more, and a lot's come up for me, but more normal, or what I would have been like, I think, if I didn't split with reality. But how connected I was and relied on nature for years, over humans, over anything. Like, it was, no matter where you go in the world, and because people will be like, oh, I don't have, well, if I can put my feet at rock bottom in the back, because I had a funny apartment that had just like a square that had one tree, and I couldn't walk very far. So I just go out the back and grab leaves off the tree and the ground and put my soles on it and hold on to the tree. And you can find it. Like, it doesn't have to be a lot, but it's so powerful.
Yeah, it is. It's a connection. So beautiful.
It definitely is. Kiko, I just wanted to, sorry.
You know, I have to get going. So you had, but I wanted to answer your question.
Yes, I was going to say, did we want to get going? First off, Kiko, what did you? Well, you can answer quickly. What was in your chia pudding? Was it a chia pudding? You were eating something?
Smoothie.
Oh, you were eating a smoothie.
Sea moss, chia seeds, parsley, mustard seed, mustard greens, orange, mango, and I just topped with the pears and blood oranges.
Yum.
I love that. I love that.
What are we doing for next one before we decided smoothie for the US raw party. So
yeah, so Dulce, what do you think? What's coming up for you?
Since you are the only one in the US.
What is May?
We just tag along.
I don't know, something sweet.
Something sweet. Okay.
Are you doing good with sweets right now, Sky?
We're doing. I can make, so I find that I can add a little bit of monk fruit to something, and I'm much better than adding something sweet. So I can do. It's not something I do every day, but I can definitely do that. I will be in Thailand. I was thinking, if I'm doing keto there, I might be living off coconut meat, because I was like, at least there's coconuts, right? That will keep me toast. Just because I was freaking out, because I'm like, how am I going to? I'm like, Sky, just one day at a time, one day at a time.
That could be a good time.
One exotic fruit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
One exotic fruit.
What do you mean?
Like something with an exotic fruit that well, you're gonna be in Thailand, you can have whatever.
Oh, you're saying as a theme we do exotic fruit? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like if you want to do the smoothie, incorporating something like that, or I don't know. What are your thoughts on? I don't know.
We could
dessert smoothie. You want to do smoothie?
We could do sweet exotic. So someone can do that can be anything: a sweet exotic dessert, a sweet exotic fruit, a sweet exotic smoothie.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'll write that straight up because I'll forget. I love you guys. I love everybody that's in the community joining us, and thank you.
Thank you. And you let us know when you want, because it'll be a bit of a tricky time when you're away, right? From home.
Oh, yes. The retreat.
Yes, because I've got so much I've got to do over there besides lay on a beach. No, when it's the retreat, I will be busy. I will be taking that time off, right? But I'll just be laying on a beach.
Cool. Well, you can do it while you are laying on the beach.
I can.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.